Wish 1075.
Dito ba sa mundo nung tunay na kailangan ang magpakasarap at magkamit ng kayamanan? Anumang kayamanan na akala mo'y walang hangganan, darating ang panahon yun iyong iiwan.
Everyone, so for today we'll be dealing with another topic. This is very important, but of course you will not consider it as one of the most important thing due to the fact that without even knowing this, you can still eat, find a decent job, be a good citizen, find your true love. But remember guys, this is not all about just for you. We are talking about good governance, and these are the sets of standards where the international community abides. So kapag may nakitaan siyang features ng good governance, features ng babanggitin kong good governance, it indicates that that government practice the latter. Alright, so for today we're going to discuss good governance and the the synonym of, antonym of, yung kabaliktaran ng good governance, and that is bad governance, which is actually incorporated to corrupt government. Alright? So how can we not be a corrupt government? So there are we have top 10 most corrupt leader, or let's say top 10 most corrupt countries. So we have here Global Corruption Index through the years. So this is the tool that have been used by Transparency International since 1995, which evaluates whether the country is actually corrupt. So the way they level or score or give marks on each country is determined by expert assessment and opinion surveys, or public opinion, where they conduct surveys and then ask whether the participant encounter corruption, mga red tape na tinatawag, bribery, etc. Alright? So CPI generally defines corruption as the misuse of public power for private benefit. So there's a big misconception about graft and corruption. When you say graft, it pertains to yung pagnanakaw, plunder, okay? So when you say corrupt practices, it doesn't mean that the person being allegedly, sinasabi na corrupt siya, it doesn't mean na nagnanakaw siya. He is using his power to be for his own benefit. For example, he creates a private army so that he can succumb the people. So that's a sign of corruption. Kapag sinabi mong graft naman, it has something to do with, it's actually both corrupt practices, but when you say graft, ito yung pandarambong na tinatawag. So, CPI generally defines corruption as the misuse of public power for private benefit. Alright? So, the CPI currently ranks 176 countries on scale from 100, which is very clean, which is impossible, to 0 or highly corrupt. Okay. So CPI through the years. So from 2012, we are ranked 105, and then in 2013 we are 94, 2014 85, and 2015 95. So nagpo-fluctuate yung ranking natin. That is the time during the time of Pinoy administration. So after he decided to step down, because his term is already done, we have here Duterte administration. Rank 101 tayo noong 2016 pagkaupo niya. Then 2017 we plummet because of the yung tinatawag na extrajudicial killings in our country. So we become 111 and 99 in 2018. So nagpa-fluctuate naman yung ating ranking. But then again, corruption is not yet resolved. Alright? We changed the president. He promised that he will bring down graft and corruption 3 to 6 months, and that is although impossible because it's already institutionalized. Ibig sabihin, naka-deep ingrained na sa ating society. For example, I give you an example. Let's say meron dyan nagtatrabaho sa government. He is a minimum wage earner. And then, the way we perceive him, kapag siya ay in just a year working in the government as a clerk, let's say ganun yung trabaho niya, or as a broker in the customs, 1 year lang nakapagpatayo na ng bahay. So ang perception natin sa kanya is he is madiskarte, and we okay that. Hindi natin sila pinandidirihan. It's just a disgrace act, nakakahiya. Ang tawag natin swerte, madiskarte. So that is the big problem. Ibig sabihin, okay lang na magnakaw sa atin, tayo sa bayan. Pero nagagalit tayo kala Ramon Revilla. Okay, ito yung galit natin eh. Galit na galit tayo ngayon, tas bukas wala na. So yun, madali tayo nakakalimot. That's why there is no change. Okay, so these are the countries with high corruption perception index 2018, meaning to say it's very, very clean. So we have here Singapore. So Singapore is kumbaga yun yung model na ginagamit ng administration ngayon. They wanted to be like Singapore, but it's actually ranked 3 and we are ranked 98, 95 or whatsoever. So it's a long way to run. It's a long way to go. And we also have Switzerland, a European countries, Finland, and Sweden. Meron din tayong during the 2018 meron tayong New Zealand, which is considered as the second least corrupt country, and the number 1 countries with a high corruption perception index is, drum roll please. Of course, this is the least corrupt country.
Let me ask you a question. Are you happy? Some of you will say yes. Some of you will say no. But all of you will wonder, what's the secret to happiness? The answer to that I found here in Copenhagen. This Scandinavian country is ranked as one of the happiest places in the world according to many studies. Despite high taxes and long winters, they are happy. And why wouldn't they be? Here, they have free education, free healthcare, $20 minimum wage, work-life balance, bikes instead of cars, welfare systems, and even people studying happiness.
And it's called the Happiness Research Institute.
The combination of all of this makes for a better society where everyone is happier, healthier, and more secure. We all want to be happy, but not many people know how. So let's learn from the Danish. Because from what I see, these guys are doing something right.
So that is from NAS Daily. You are aware of, alam nyo tong video na to. So, Denmark is considered by Transparency International corrupt with the lowest or the least corrupt government. Number 1 out of 180. And in other research, in the University of Leicester, Satisfaction with Life Index 2006, Denmark is number 1 out of 178 countries. We also have Global Peace Index, ranked 5 out of 160 countries in 2018. And in World Economic Forum, Global Competitiveness Report, ranked 10 out of 133 as of 2018. So, based on this record, based on their statistic, Denmark is least corrupt, and also the people are competitive, satisfied with their life, and happy. So there is a relationship between a corrupt government, there's a relationship between a non-corrupt government who practice good governance. So that's why they can give social services without corruption. So yun. Ibig sabihin niyan, kapag walang corrupt, nabibigay ng gobyerno yung social services na gusto ng tao, people become healthy and also competitive. So that is very, very clear. So migrate na tayo, no? Migrate, tara na, migrate na tayo, lokohan na to. Iwan na natin bayan natin. Of course, we should not do that. There is always a chance, and to solve our problem in bad governance, to have a good governance, to have a good government, all we have to do is, of course, learn Philippine government and governance. So what's the secret of Denmark? So nobody must know the secret of the box, right? But it's actually napaka open na to. Given na meron na siyang standard na sinet ng international community kung ano yung good governance. So last meeting we discussed the meaning of governance. So what is governance? So governance is the process of decision making and the process by which decisions are implemented, meaning to say it is the action manifested by the government. So whenever the government acts, formulate its own policy and implemented it to the public, it is considered as governance. All right? And remember, government has its own right or exercise of authority. Okay, to exercise its authority. And not only that, government with the help of the civil society groups and the private sectors, ibig sabihin tayo yon at mga grupo na nilikha para makatulong at makipag-collaborate sa gobyerno para maihatid nila yung kanilang programa, that is also considered as governance. So paano natin masasabi that the government is actually practicing good governance? So according to the United Nations, there are 8 characteristics of good governance. It is participatory, consensus-oriented, accountability, transparency, responsiveness, effective and efficient, equity and inclusiveness, and also, of course, follows the rule of law. So these are the 8 characteristics of good governance. So next is participatory, okay? When you say participation by both men and women is the key cornerstone of good governance. Everyone is cooperating and collaborating. Just like what Haywood said, politics is about collective decision making. So, it's not only the government who decide the fate or the destiny of the nation. It's also the people. Okay? So we have babae ka man, lalaki, part ka na LGBT, mayaman, mahirap, rich kid, pa-rich kid. You are all involved in this collective decision making. And if you and others, even though they are not part of the government, collaborated with the government through criticism and suggestion and recommendation, you are doing your part in nation building. Alright? So we should be part of this collective decision making. So sir, so ibig sabihin ba niyan because we are in a democratic country, 100 ang participation ang score natin? Oh yeah, everyone can vote, right? Yes. Everyone is almost, aside from everyone is can vote, everyone is almost represented in the Congress. Imagine we have every district has its own representatives. And for each sector of society, mayaman, mahirap, magsasaka, nurse, teachers, engineers, okay, at mga naaapi, okay, yan. They are also represented. Alright? So, big check na ba tayo sa participatory or participation? It is important to point out that representative democracy does not necessarily mean that the concern of the most vulnerable in society would be taken into consideration in decision making. So that's the problem. Although there's a participation involved, we have the right to vote, we have the power to choose our leaders, and we can also run if we want to. In other words, regardless you are fully representative, di ka actively participating. Only few organization is available. Okay? Hindi pa masyadong aware ang mga Pilipino regarding sa pag-create ng organization. And sometimes worse, yung mga civil society groups has been used by the politicians to become their mechanism, okay, for their own political interest. Ginagamit nila yon. If you can still recall the Napoles pork barrel scam, where yung mga tinatawag na mga non-government unit, mga organization, has been utilized by those corrupt officials, gamitin para hindi para yung sa programa ng gobyerno, kundi ibulsa yung pera. Ginagamit nila yung mga NGO na yan. So, ayun ang problema. So, we are not aware. Nakatanghod ka lang yan. Diba dyan, diba? Nakatanghod ka lang dyan, umaasa na pansinin niya, pero you are not actively participating in the collective process. Meron tayong tinatawag na consciousness eh. We are politically conscious. Hindi ayaw natin makialam, especially nowadays. Ang tingin natin sa politics, dapat hindi ka nakikialam. Given that you have your own life, may mga problema tayo. Aside from that, you are become a hindrance sa ibang tao na nakikialam sa gobyerno. Ibig sabihin, nagre-recommenda, nagkikriticize.
Sandali lang, may nilalagay lang ako sa ref. Wait lang.
Okay. So participation needs to be informed and organized. This means freedom of association and expression on the one hand, and an organized civil society on the other hand.
Eleksyon na naman. Sino ang iboboto mo? Sino ang kakatawan sa'yo sa susunod na 3 hanggang 6 na taon? Kada 3 taon, ibinoboto natin ang lokal na namumuno, kinatawan sa Kongreso, at kalahati ng Senado. Ikaw ba ay boboto sa isang trapo? Iboboto mo ba ang trapo dahil binigyan ka ng groceries? O dahil tinakot ka ng goons niya? O dahil pinag-aral si Junior? O dahil pumipila ka sa labas ng kanyang bahay tuwing Pasko upang makatanggap ng hamon? At upang hikayatin ang iyong tapat na boto sa susunod na eleksyon, ang estilo ng kanyang pamumuno ay base sa pagbibigay sa iyo ng regalo tuwing kaarawan mo, o sa pagpapagawa ng basketball court at sa paggawa ng isang waiting shed. Sa araw ng halalan, tuwang-tuwa mong iuuwi ang libreng groceries pagkatapos mong iboto ang paborito mong trapo. Pero paano kung iba naman ang gagawin mo ngayong taon? Paano kung magtipon-tipon kayo ng iyong komunidad upang pag-usapan ang mga prioridad na pangangailangan at kausapin ang inyong mga kandidato? Paano kung pumirma kayo ng mga kandidato ng isang social contract na masisiguro na mabibigyan kayo ng infrastruktura, pangmatagalang programang pangkalusugan, paghahanda sa kalamidad, at mga investments na magdudulot ng trabaho di lamang para sa iyo, ngunit para sa susunod na henerasyon. Sa pamamagitan ng bottom-up budgeting at ng full disclosure policy ng DILG, tungkulin mong siguraduhin na ang iyong kandidato ay tutupad sa kanyang mga pangako. Ikaw at ang iyong komunidad ang magpapahintulot kung makakatanggap ang naglilingkod ng Seal of Good Housekeeping na magbibigay sa kanya ng karagdagang kakayahan na magtayo ng mga paaralan, magbayad ng karagdagang mga guro, lagyan ng gamot at kagamitan ang mga health centers, at ayusin at gumawa ng mga kalsada na mag-aakit ng mga bagong negosyo at trabaho. At At sa araw ng halalan, ikaw ang may kapangyarihan na magbigay ng isa pang termino sa iyong tagapaglingkod. O palitan siya para sa mas magaling na tagapaglingkod. At pagkatapos ng 3 taon, mas marami pang tagapaglingkod ang mananalo sa eleksyon na magbibigay ng tuwid na pamumuno, na magdudulot ng magandang serbisyo upang paunlarin ang ating pamayanan. Malay natin, pagkatapos ng 10 taon, naiahon natin ang ating bansa kasama at hindi lamang umaasa sa ating mga tagapaglingkod. Ngayon, gaano kahalaga ang iyong boto? Katumbas lang ba ng isang bag ng groceries? O katumbas ng milyon-milyong pisong infrastruktura, edukasyon, trabaho at masaganang komunidad? Makilahok at makialam, makiugnay sa iyong mga pinuno at baguhin natin ang trapo upang maging tunay na lingkod bayan.
Kailangan kasama ang community, kailangan kasama ka, kailangan kasama kayo hindi lamang sa eleksyon, but sa buong termino niya para babantayan kung lahat ng pinapangako niya ay natutupad. So next is the rule of law. So good governance requires fair legal frameworks that are enforced impartially, meaning to say we have fair legal system. Everyone, so walang mayaman, walang mahirap, at walang in-check. Okay? Walang mahirap na pusher at big time na drug lords. So everyone is accountable sa law. Everyone should follow the law. Everyone should be equals on the eyes of law. Okay? It also requires full protection of human rights, particularly those of minorities. So X na tayo. Given that there are partial enforcement of laws, to be called, kumbaga may rule of law, it requires an independent judiciary, yung hindi na iimpluwensyahan ng gobyerno, ng pamahalaan. For example, ng national government, hindi iimpluwensyahan ng Supreme Court. And of course, the most important thing is yung incorruptible police force. Sabi nga ni Antonio Luna, wala nakakataas sa batas kahit pa ang presidente. So this will be the first part of good governance. So yung next video is the second part. So please watch mamaya. I will upload it. Kung na-upload ko na, pakipanood na rin. Thank you.
Sobrang kapangyarihan, sobrang kayamanan, sobrang katakawan. Ilan ang mamamayan na nagsisigawan? Magkalit, magkalit! Marami ang nagakalang siya'y makabayan, gumamit pa ng salitang kalayaan. Ang demokrasya at kalayaan ay nakasalalay sa ating kakayahan na pigilin at kontrolin ang pagnanasa at mga gawain. Ano ba ang gusto mo na magpapasaya sa'yo? Ito ba ang karangyaan sa pamumuhay? May bahay, may kotse, may pera, may asawa, may anak, may damit, may pagkain, kilala, may pangalan. Pero nakalimutan ng Diyos